Welcome to another Nova Heights speed build, y'all. This one's gonna be fun. We are welcoming the North American beaver into the wetlands marsh area of our Nova Heights Planet Zoo Park, and I hope you're excited because I'm pretty excited for this one. So if you notice from the last speed build where we introduced the capybaras, we had a little section at the end of it that we covered with a sticks, making a type of dam to welcome the North American beaver, which is famous for, you guessed it, living in those dams. So I'm excited and I hope you are too. Stick around if you are ready for some cute critter action. So this speed build, of course, is dedicated to the North American beaver. This beaver can be found in Canada, the United States, and part of Mexico. It is also part of the rodent family. Even though the capybaras are the largest rodent in the rodent family, the beaver is still one of the larger ones as well. Pretty interesting. Now these beavers do live in wetland type of areas, which is why they fit perfectly into our marsh section of Nova Heights. And I'm really excited because they also eat a lot of plant matter, which is perfect for our river. So this is the river that's going to continue on around the wetland and marsh area, and the next animals our guests will see as they move on is going to be these beavers. And this area will be covered with aquatic plants as well as a lot of foliage. So we're going to use a lot of trees, a lot of wood, because ultimately beavers not only eat aquatic grasses and stuff, they also eat wood. Pretty interesting. So a few things that I really enjoyed about this habitat revolved around the planning of the actual habitat. I did go in with an initial plan, one of them being that I wanted an underwater viewing area for guests to see the beavers kind of interact under the water, as well as I wanted a viewing area that went over the water, just so that way guests would be able to see these not so large animals in their habitat without having to make the habitat super small. Another thing I really enjoyed was the amount of different types of foliage that actually looks really good in the water. They have a lot of trees in the game that don't have any leaves or anything on it, they're just trees. And then they also have just a lot of plant life that you're able to place around the water areas, and it really did give it that North American wetland type of vibe. It made it very easy to theme, and ultimately was just a very easy habitat to create overall. And as you probably guessed, I did stick with the theme of wood, so we are going to continue that theme throughout this entire wetlands area, just like the wooden buildings and the wooden structures, as well as the wooden houses. So this one, why not more? Make it just keep the theme, you know. Doing great so far. Let's keep it going. Don't stop now. Got some momentum. Now, much like the capybara, the American beaver can stay underwater for an extended period of time. It is a little bit longer than the capybara. In fact, it is approximately, I believe, about 15 minutes. They are able to stay underwater, and so of course we wanted to make sure the habitat had plenty of water. So as you can see, the river is going to continue around. All of that area will be for the beaver. We took the habitat and kind of moved it over a little bit to the side, so they will have all of that space. And of course, I added some enrichment down to the front of the habitat, so that way they are able to be around the guests. And they do actually tend to hang out closer towards the window, which is great because it'll bring people over. Now, I will say right now, I am having a little bit of a hard time getting guests to come over to this section of the park. If you can look at the bottom of the screen, you'll see I have a little bit over 3,000 guests in the park right now, but you don't see many people over in this area at all. They are mostly over in the Africa savanna section, as well as the Capuchin monkey section, and we're gonna have to find a way to get them to meander over here. I'm not sure if it's gonna take more animals or if it's gonna take maybe a restaurant or something, but we will just kind of keep experimenting and exploring just to see how we can get them to move over to the wetlands area and just disperse a little bit better throughout the park. Now, this wetlands area does slightly meet up with the Africa area, a part that you haven't seen yet. We will do a video on that, but it does start to meet up towards the back, as you may be able to see some of that pathway that's on top of the hill. I haven't decided if we are going to connect the two, where people are able to go from one to the other, or if we're just going to take the wetlands area and make it a continuous loop where they have to go back out through the Capybara area. Well, I guess we'll just see how the flow works, and then once we figure that out, we can go from there. For now, we're just going to focus on getting this habitat up and running, and then build our next wetlands area, which I believe is a little bit more scalier. Now, a couple common techniques that I did use for this particular build was utilizing the glass barrier as a water barrier, so that way I could have the underwater viewing section. If you're not familiar with that, it just needs to go from if you're going to create like a river, you just need to have the glass barrier go through the terrain from point A to point B in a way that keeps the closes the seal to the barrier. That way you're able to click the water, it'll be able to validate it, and then you can use that for guests to walk by and look at things underwater. I believe you also have the same option to use the one-way glass for that as well, which if you are in career mode and you are dealing with animals who are very stressed out when people are around, the one-way glass helps to alleviate that problem. Now, a few things that I did not do for this habitat was build a giant house for them to live in. I did give them a little bit of a shelter just so they can sleep, but my idea was that in nature they kind of sleep in the wooden dams and stuff that they build, so just kind of to keep the illusion of that. I have hidden the entrance gate for the keepers behind some plants, but other than that, we've just kept it very simple with this one. Maybe in the future we can add a bigger house for them, but for now it's just a little hut for them to sleep in if they please, and then a lot of foliage. In fact, I had to take some foliage out because I got it up to 320% foliage coverage. That's a lot. Now, something that I was really excited about for this build is that glitch that you may have seen in other builds that I had was not present here. That made me very excited. I was able to move things very easily throughout the build. It made things a lot faster, a lot simpler. Of course, some things just weren't straight, and that was okay. It made it so much easier to use though. So like I said, we're going with this wooden theme, using these wooden beams to create a barrier between our guest and the habitat. I really did just want them to be able to see through the glass structure at the bottom, or the the kind of, I can't even think of the name, the platform at the top as well. Now, I do plan on going back in the future and maybe amping this up a little bit, but I wanted to save that opportunity for when I got a little bit better at the game, so I am not going to do any further additions to this particular area. What you see at the end will be what I keep until I feel like I've gotten much better at the game. That way I can create stuff a little bit more advanced from scratch. Right now I still think it looks great, but like I said, I just want to save some of these habitats for later, just to amp it up at a different time. So another technique that I use that is very helpful if you are trying to gauge how high a barrier should be for your guests, I actually will place down, as you can see, a keeper or a staff member in an area where I'm trying to figure out how tall to make walls. This just gives you an idea of an actual guest, what they're going to be seeing. That way you don't accidentally build it too high. You can also use this technique using statues of animals. So they're not 100% accurate, but it still gives you an approximate height. So that way you're not building something massive. You know, we're not actually in this game, so we aren't there to see how high we're building it. It just gives you a roundabout estimate, so that way you're not building things too high. So definitely utilize that tool to make sure that you get things a little bit more accurate and you don't have to go back and change things later. Now, as I watch this, I do kind of get a few little ideas of what I would like to do for a future speed build. Maybe if we were to like improve this area. I love the wooden beam look, but I kind of think I would like it more if it was a little bit more distressed. Just kind of giving it that worn look of it having been in a river for a long period of time. Maybe some of the beavers have actually like gotten a hold to it and they've eaten a little bit. Like these beams look perfect right now, and that weathered look would probably make it look even cooler. So maybe that's something that I can work on in a future build, just to kind of give it some age. It would be kind of cool if things aged in the game. Fences for barriers, they age and they will break, but props don't really age or break as they get older. So we're gonna have to create that one on our own. Now I will say, if that was an actual thing where structures aged over time in the game, it would make this game a lot harder, especially if you play it on a higher speed. Like I sometimes will play it on a higher speed to, have the animals reproduce faster, or just to get guests in a certain area. And I could just imagine areas just aging and having to replace buildings all the time. Now, on a different note, let's talk about these North American beavers. They are part of the rodent family, as we spoke before. They're not the largest one like the capybara, but they are still a large rodent. And like I said before, they can be found in North America, Canada, the United States, and Mexico. Their IUCN status is of least concern, but as always, we do want to make sure that we are careful so they don't accidentally end up on the endangered species list. Now, we know that beavers do spend a lot of time in water, and because of that, they secrete a oil that helps to protect their fur and essentially make it waterproof. Um, this oil is called castoreum and is actually found in foods still to this day. Stuff like ice cream, especially like vanilla ice creams, still use castoreum, and I believe some adult beverages as well. Now, I'm not quite sure how common it is for food makers to use castoreum oil today, but it is still a good example of things to be aware of if we want to be good stewards of our planet. So, for example, whenever a product becomes very popular, like palm oil or castoreum oil, the demand for it will become very high, and sometimes we will over harvest these oils, causing harm to the animal or to its environment. So it is very important that we be mindful and try to find alternative resources so we don't use up all of one particular resource, especially if it's going to hurt the animal or its environment. So I just thought that was a really interesting thing to note, that the castoreum oil that the beavers do produce has been used in food, and as long as we're mindful of it, then that's something that we can prevent from becoming a problem in the future. Now, another fun fact that you can find in the Zoopedia is beavers they have those large tails, right? They're used for many things, but one of them is the use to kind of scare danger away. So if there's danger, they will take that tail and they will slap it on the water. It makes a loud noise, and that is a great way for them to protect themselves from danger. So that tail comes into good use, right? I don't know that I've ever heard a beaver tail in person. I think I've seen beavers in person, but I don't think I've ever heard a beaver tail in person. With that being said, beavers can also get up to 70 pounds. That's pretty impressive. I don't know what I would do if I saw a 70-pound beaver, but hey, that's really cool. Now, I did find it kind of interesting that the young adult beavers will actually get up and move to another living arrangement that's literally just kind of like right up the, I want to say the street from their parents. So they will usually pick a member of the opposite sex to mate with and move into their little dens and create a family. And also, a beaver is said to be able to recognize a family member without even having met the family member before. So, it seems like a very family-oriented species. I don't recognize family members that I've actually known my entire life. So, the beaver has one up on me. Now, as always, you can find all of this information in the Zoopedia, which is located in the game. If you don't have the game, you can go to planetzoo.fandom.com and see the exact same material. I will say though, having the game is a little bit more exciting when you're learning about these animals. Mostly because you can literally go to the market in the game and get these animals and just get to watch them explore their habitats that you created. So there's not much more left in our speed build today, so as usual, I hope you learned a lot about the North American beaver. I hope you go out and build a beautiful North American beaver habitat, and if you enjoyed this speed build, if you wouldn't mind giving it a like and subscribing if you want to see more in the future. I am so excited that I decided to build the beaver habitat, and if you have a beaver habitat that you would like to share, as always, drop a link in the comments below or give us a shout out on Twitter. That way I can see it. I would love to see your amazing creation. And of course, if you have any fun beaver facts that I didn't mention today, please let me know. I love learning about animals. You know what I like to say, sharing is caring. So yeah, I hope you enjoy the rest of the speed build, and make sure to stay tuned to the end so you can see some beautiful beaver footage. I hope you have a wonderful day, and go out, help the planet, and enjoy yourself. Thank you, and I'll see you later. Bye bye.
This one is